早安，你好吗？Dekanatsiasu. You wouldn't expect to hear a foreign language from a homeless person. I didn't expect to become a homeless person. I was greatly unprepared for what occurred. Without the assistance of TPI and the assistance from you and actually the whole city of Portland, myself and a number of other people would be in a very bad situation, to say the least. Thanks. They asked me to tell you how I got here, what services Bud Clark has offered to me, and how they turned my life around. You don't have time to hear how I got here, but it was through some very devastating situations that can befall anybody at any time, including yourselves. Fire and death were included in both. More importantly, I'm here now. And I was grossly unprepared to discover how quick our society discriminates against us if we don't have our current ID. In Oregon particularly, you can have an ID from another state, and it's insufficient to get a lot of services here simply because it's an out-of-state ID. Unlike Alaska, where I came from most recently, you also have a very expensive ID here, which I'd like to let you know that Bud Clark Services helps people get, and it's instrumental in doing anything further in your city or state. Most people, myself included, have no idea at all what homeless people go through. I'm a former Marine and a carpenter of over 20 years. I've worked in some of the finest houses in San Francisco. I thought people with backpacks were either tourists, hobos, bums, or campers. And I only thought I fit in 2 of those categories. And I was wrong. I fit in all. Not by choice. Coming here without having the resources that have been given to me by you guys and TPI, I would without a doubt be sleeping on the street. And I wouldn't have made connections with the VA, which provides medical help and a plethora of other things. Many of the homeless people you see aren't there because they want to be there, and most wish to do something and be productive. But the economy has put us into a situation where it's very difficult for carpenters to get work. It's even more difficult for carpenters without their ID, without their glasses, without clothing that they may have lost in some catastrophe. The Bud Clark Center offers all of those things to people, as well as meals, a place to sleep, and most importantly, dignity. It's not easy to come before a distinguished panel like yourself and admit that you're currently unable to sustain yourself. But it happens. We don't like to admit we're getting older either, and I can assure you in the last 5 job interviews I've been given, they didn't specifically say that it was because of my age that they couldn't hire me, but they did infer age was more of a liability than an asset. We live in a time when experience is no longer a sufficient amount, but not being a liability, not being someone that you might have to pay a higher insurance rate for or whatever. And we're not prepared to do job searches when we've worked in the same job for 20 years. And I would challenge that most of you, if we put you on the street tomorrow without your ID, without your suit, and put you on a sleeping bag and had to confront your local law enforcement for why you were sleeping on the street, would be woefully unprepared for what you would confront or be confronted by. When you go to a center like this, one, they take that risk away. And two, they give you a schedule and a plan and an opportunity to move forward and to re-enter society and to be productive again. They said, how did I change or turn my life around? Well, as yet I haven't turned my life around. I don't feel that my life needed to be turned around. It just needed to get more order. They've helped me a great deal with that. For those of you that are optically challenged, I'm a negative 800. They've helped me with glasses. I didn't have a local ID. They've helped me with a local ID. I have never had unemployment before. I have never been out without my own place to live. But spending 5 years in Alaska and coming here, you don't have a great deal of background. And most renters here, when you tell them, where have you lived for the past 5 years? I've lived in the bush in Alaska. They roll their eyes, and you're not getting rented to. The connections and the temporary housing that you guys offer through these programs stabilize people. Give those that are willing and want to get back into society an opportunity to do so. You may wonder if the money's well spent. Desperate people do desperate things. I would submit to you that many people that commit crimes, this guy is quite well familiar with, would not do a lot of those crimes if they had other ways to sustain themselves, but they were desperate and they did desperate things. This prevents desperation. This gives people a chance to represent themselves, straighten out their lives, get the things they need, and become less of a risk to society. So, in closing, I'd just like to say thank you very much for the opportunity. And the risk you've taken. And I'd like you to know, I personally feel it was very worthwhile and can't thank you enough.
Thank you very much.